This is the 217 Recovery Podcast with Corey Winfield.
If you commit to something, do it. If you don't want to do it, say no. But if you say yeah and you committed to something, you got to do it. Stick it out. Do it.
And co-host Marnie Winfield.
My rent is paid. I have a roof over my head. I'm married to the most amazing man in the world who cares about me and supports me, keeps me safe, and I don't know. I got it all.
March 10th. 2022. My name is Corey Winfield.
My name is Marnie Winfield.
And this is the 217 Recovery Podcast. Your friends might say, you got to listen to this, man. They talk about recovery and Jesus and China and stuff. They talk about stuff. Their cats fighting and they talk about it all. And we do, you know, so that's a fair assessment of our podcast. It is what it is, man. I want to give a big shout out to Eric. It's his birthday today.
Happy birthday, Eric.
I mean, when he listens to this, it probably won't be his birthday anymore.
Right.
But just knowing that we did mention him on his birthday, it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, Eric's been on the podcast a couple times, right?
Yep. And him and Al started their own podcast.
Right.
Recovering Loud. Just turn it down at the beginning because Al yells, loud, like he yells, and it's like, a little much, but we love them. They're big supporters of ours. We support them, and anybody who's willing to start something new, something they're not familiar with, I give them props. You know, I should help them. Well, their website, that's a long story. He said he was going to tell it to me. He told me a little bit about it, but yeah.
It's under construction?
Kind of, because he thought they were buying recoveringloud.com, and it turns out, they got recoveringloud.com/GoDaddy or something like. Oh. Like if you go through GoDaddy, which I kind of advise them not to, but nobody listens to Corey until the end when they tell me, you were right about that. And I'm like, I know. Yep. Live and learn.
Yep.
You know, we use Wix for our website, and it's all right. Yeah, it's all right. There's information on there. You can go there, and there's actually a training. It's a high traffic drug something. It's training. But Fan is putting it on, and that's on our event page if you're interested.
When's that?
There's trainings throughout 2022. So go to that, and there's like a little QR code you can scan, and it'll take you right to.
Are those free?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then I got to get with Justine. She is with Families Against Narcotics too, because I had mentioned, hey, what about recovery coach training? Because I know Tyrone wants to take it, the CCAR training. George, who's been on the podcast a long time ago, I think he's interested in taking it, and a few other people I know too. So I want to send them in that direction.
Yeah. And
that'll all be posted too. Once I get the details from Justine, then I'll post them on 217recovery.com as well under the events. Or maybe right there on the front page. Who knows? Depends how I'm feeling that day. Could be frisky.
Yeah. And I think the thing about recovery coaching, like, obviously the idea would be that you could be in that position of being a recovery coach for somebody else. So having recoveries and kind of helping them in their early recovery, or even just wherever they're at in their recovery. Kind of like a sponsor. We've talked about that before. But not really, because sponsors are primarily for walking you through the steps of the fellowship of AA or NA.
Yeah, recovery coach not really going to be on your ass for anything.
No. A recovery coach is a lot more broad in terms of kind of giving you advice and leading you in the right direction.
Yeah, and that's why, like, I've taken the training. Technically, I'm a recovery coach, but I don't practice recovery coaching. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at, is because people be like, well, why would I take that? And I think it's beneficial to your own sobriety.
It is.
Like, the primary reason why I think it was helpful is
just for my own. Take it.
Yeah, take it.
It's not going to hurt you.
Yeah, and there's good people in there. It's fun. You know, lots of networking.
You and I both have taken the suicide prevention training. There's like two different ones, but we took both of them. One of them is like kind of like a, hey, if you hear something, you know, you can learn what you're supposed to do to pass them off to somebody else. And then we took the other one where we're the person that people are passing people on to. So it's just stuff that, you know what, I'm glad I know it.
Yeah.
If I hear a friend or a family member or something say something, I know what to listen for, and I know that, hey, this is the steps that we need to take, and you never know when you're going to need it.
Yep.
It could be 30 years from now, but I'll still remember, hopefully, if I'm still sane, how to get them the help they need. So, yeah. And we should get with Kirsten's ride, because I know she does trainings, and now that COVID's kind of calmed down, I'm sure there's some in-person training that she can do, and why not, When I first started on this path of recovery, I just started taking stuff, recovery ambassador. That's what's up. I don't remember the rest of them.
Yeah.
There was something else too. I don't know. I have a plaque somewhere.
A bunch of awards.
Yeah, but it's just to learn more and to get more involved. That's what I figured I should do. And the state of Michigan told me I can't be a recovery coach because I'm the executive director of 217
You're
Recovery.
going to get that figured out. I think that's just a formality. I think that the wording wasn't right on your application.
I don't know. Then I sent it back to a couple of people and still didn't get a response, because I was like, hey, because they were like, well, we can't, you can't bill for a recovery coach driver, because their whole thing, and this is, I don't want to say part of the problem, but this is why another kind of step towards why I'm not really into recovery coaching myself at this current time, is because they want you to, okay, now let's set up a plan. Now let's take notes and let's put that in the file and this and that. And I'm kind of more of a, hey, if you need some help, why don't you give me a call and I'll help you out. Which I get why they want to track everything, and because otherwise people could just be like, oh yeah, I met with Jeff for 8 hours the other day, and we should talk about some stuff. Okay, yeah, well, here's your money, thanks. They would get out of control.
Lots of times the only reason why things like that are beneficial is if somewhere down the line you end up finding another. This is more for like therapists and things like that, to get more background information. Sometimes it's helpful to have the notes that were taken.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
You're not a big note guy either.
No, I'm not.
You're like anti-notes.
Yes, but I could write a note after I, transport somebody to or from treatment. And there's some goals that were talked about for sure every time.
Right.
But they're like, no, you can't bill for that, so you don't qualify. And I was like, are you kidding me? So I threw in there, well, we're doing outreach, with addiction treatment services. They have a van, and they said, hey, if you want to use it, put your logo on it, go out and help people. And of course we were like, okay, sounds good. Let's go.
Yeah.
So we're going to start that in April. So I made sure to point out, the van will be stopped, and it has a little office in it. And I'm sure there'll be some recovery coaching going on, because a recovery coach, one of the duties, I guess, is to help people with the resources. You're pretty much like a guy people are going to go to, like, hey, how do I do this? Hey, I need this or whatever.
You're the concierge of recovery.
Yeah, exactly. And I know for a fact that's what we're doing, so it's like, hey, what about this? And the van will be stopped, so we're not going to be driving. There's an office in the back of it.
Yeah.
And they didn't even write me back. And I was like, you guys are going to be kidding me. Like, shame on me for wanting to better myself or maybe learn something new, it's just so stupid. And I'm paying for it. So It's not like it's free and then I'm taking advantage of these people.
Right.
I don't know. That's why I was talking to somebody about this the other day. Like, the PIHPs, like the one in Northern Michigan, is NMRE. There's some things I could say, but for the most part, 50-50. That's how I feel about them. Mid-State Health Network, I'm not a fan of. They are not doing the things that they're supposed to do in their contract with Michigan and Medicaid. Not a fan. But then you get this thing where they're like, do away with them. And I'm like, heck yeah. Then I'm like, the more I start dealing with people at the state level, I'm like, is this really what we're going to do now too? Like, I'm just like, and there's nothing I can do about the situation. There's nothing I can do about it. So I'm not going to get worked up over it, but I'm just throwing my hands up going, okay, well, we can't depend on any of those. And that's the kind of approach I'm taking. Like, don't depend on the PIHPs for anything, and don't depend on the state for anything. and let's just keep moving forward with what we can do and
Yep.
just keep helping people and do what I can do.
It's all, I think we focus on grants.
Yeah. And that's, part of that though is going through Michigan if I wanted to, but there's other grants and stuff out there. But yeah, that's what we can do, and we should just go that route. And if anything else pops up or anything's extra, then, surprise. But to sit back and count on that, no.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of favoritism that goes into some of that stuff. And it's just like, obviously I'm not trying to kiss up to nobody. Mm-hmm. So
it's kind of a double-edged sword because it's like you have these, we get turned down because they're like, we've never heard of 217 recovery. And it's like, well, that's because we're like a grassroots operation. I mean, we haven't been around for a long time and we are just like starting up. Mm-hmm. That's how you get there is by, you need, the funds to be able to, create more opportunities with different things to do different things and make it better, more efficient, more helpers, etc.
Yeah.
More rides, and all those things can't happen without money. And then they're like, we can't give you money because we don't know about you because you're not big. It's like, come on, open your eyes.
All right, like what? I know it's so funny, and it's funny, but it's not. Mm-hmm. And 3 years ago today, I was still in treatment.
Yeah,
isn't that crazy?
I think that the bus thing, I think a lot of things are going to unfold that we don't even...
The bus?
You know what I mean? Yeah. I think a lot of things are going to, opportunities are going to present themselves. I don't know. It just...
Bus. Who's got what bus? The busing?
217.
Oh, the van.
Van.
It's not a bus.
Sorry, van.
I don't have a license for a bus.
Okay.
But it's a van. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought
because until you really get out there to figure out what needs are, and what people are asking about or for,
it'll be so much fun.
It's gonna be good.
Like, I told Tyrone, I was like, because Tyrone's gonna go with me and go to these places, and hopefully my friend Adam does too. And I don't know, whoever wants to, we'll go. But I just told Tyrone, it's like, man, we're gonna go out and people are gonna see us having fun, and they're gonna think, what is wrong with these people? Mm-hmm. We are the poster child for having fun in recovery. Both of us are, and we just like to have fun, and a lot of people think that being sober, like, oh, I'm going to miss out on all this fun, when really you're not having fun in active addiction anyway. Mm-mm. It might have started as, oh, let's go drinking for fun. It's fun, or let's use, it makes me feel good. It's fun. But that doesn't last very long. And next thing you know, it's not fun, and you're trapped.
Yeah.
Well, so anyway, today we're doing my top 5 albums.
Oh, right. You did that.
Yes. So let's just get into that real quick.
Okay.
Again, we're having fun in recovery. Mm-hmm. So the Ticket station I listen to, every Tuesday they do Musical Musers is what they call it. It's a segment on their show, and they were doing their top 5 albums. Mm-hmm. And so then I started thinking, like, what are my top 5 albums? And I thought about it. And then I realized that I had to break it into categories. I couldn't just do a top 5 album. And these aren't the top 5 albums of all time. These are just for me that I've spun over the years. My CD player, my tape player, and now my music sources. And now it's easier because I'll just pick an artist and just say, hey, play Chris Cornell, and it'll just play forever. And I love it. But back in the day, you had to go out and buy the album. So anyway, my top 5, and this is kind of more of the rock era.
Okay.
Honorable mention, because I can't just do a top 5. It has to be Oasis. What's the story? Morning Glory. You're my wonder wall.
Yeah. Something like that.
Champagne supernova in the sky. That even says high in it. Sorry. That is honorable mention. Also honorable mention is wherever I may roam. Even though I mix sad but true into that song. Yeah. Enter Sandman. That's the Metallica album. The Black album. That was good. Honorable mention. In at number 5, however, is I'm only playing this with my mouth because I don't want to pay royalties, or I think that it'll be flagged on YouTube or something. Pantera, vulgar display of power. Yeah. You don't. No. Walk on home.
No,
boy.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying it's not my type of music.
Oh, you're like, don't. You weren't telling me to sing more. You were just
No, I was not telling you to
move
sing
on
more.
to number 4. But no, it had the cool. The album cover had the guy getting punched in the face. It was like right. The photo was taken right at
I
you.
think I might remember that.
I'm sure you had some boyfriends that listened to it. And at number 4, trying to think what song I'm going to try to sing. I need to probably take a drink here. Number 4 was an album that changed my life. I remember when I first heard the song, Even Flow, Ride Like Butterfly. I don't really know the words, but I listen to it all the time. Pearl Jam's 10.
Okay, Pearl Jam.
Jeremy has spoken. Sorry, I am taking a drink. Number 3. Oh, that was horrible. Let's try this again. Come as you are, as you were, as I want you to be, as a friend.
I know the song. I don't know who sings it.
Nirvana.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Never mind. I almost moved it up higher, but then I moved it back down. Number 3. That was a great album. At first, I didn't like it. And I remember I really wasn't into Nirvana. And I was out doing hood rat stuff. And we came home and my mom was like, oh my God, did you hear that the singer from Pearl Jam died? I was like, what? She's like, yeah, shot himself. I was like, what? And like I said, Pearl Jam, that was my stuff, man. I was like, no. And we didn't have internet. You couldn't just, let me check and see. No, I was like, no. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm calling my buddies. Like, what? They're like, nah, man, Kurt Cobain from Nirvana. Oh, phew. Okay, cool. But then I got into them later, and that was an album that I used to listen to all the time.
So these are all, because I've never really heard you listen to any of these so far.
You'd make me turn it off.
Maybe that's it.
Because I'm a good husband. We listen to Taylor Swift.
No, I did not make you listen to Taylor Swift. You listen to different stuff in the car.
The Joker and the Queen.
But a lot of what you do is like mixed streaming, or I don't know if you do from your playlist or whatever. I like the music you listen to.
Oh, I'll have to listen to more of it when you're in the car then.
Just not the examples you just gave. Just not, I mean, yeah. I don't know. I just don't like that.
Respect. Talking to me. All right. So, number 2. Like all these kind of like my growing up years, you know? My growing up years. This next one, I guess I was still growing up. Glass Animals. Their Gooey album.
Don't even know.
Wow.
I got nothing on that.
Wow, man. I want to say it came out in 2015. And I was maybe before 2014. I don't know. I was working in radio and I would, look up stuff and I was like, what are the best albums that I have to own or whatever? I typed into Google and that popped up and I was like, I listened to a little bit. I was like, I went and bought it and I was like, hell yeah. You can just put it on and just play it. The whole thing. And you've heard me listen to Glass Animals before.
Okay.
Because they'll drop in. I love when they drop in like dirty words and you're like, what did he just say? Because like there was one song and I told you, I'm like, here it says like this big old titties 2 or something. And you're like, what? I'm like, it says that. And you're like, huh? Nuh-uh. And then I had to play it again. You're like,
Okay.
It's like, yep. It's a big old titties. And you're just like, just jamming to the song. Glass Animals, Gooey was the album. But I like all their stuff, really. Number 1. I'm trying to do there's so many songs in this album. It's just a great album. Which one do I want to sing? Maybe I shouldn't butcher any of them since I like it so much. Now maybe didn't mean to treat you bad, but I did anyway. I don't know. And then cover me, yeah. Yeah, whatever, how that goes. And then there's one, it's called For You. It's like, it's for you. And at the end, he's like, so fuck you. I don't want any more. And yeah. I can listen to that album over and over, which I have. That's why it's number one on my list. Candlebox self-titled album, which came out in 93, something like that. It's a great album. And it still holds up. And Candlebox just put out a new album not too long ago, and I listened to that. And it's all right. There's one song that I really can relate to. I'm pretty sure Kevin Martin, the lead singer, is in recovery. I've talked to him before a couple times in interviews, and I wish I would have asked him. But at that time, I was like, just trying to pull it all together, you know. Mm-hmm. But I talked to him before I moved back to Michigan in 2015 because they were coming to Fort Smith. But he's a cool dude. And like, I remember talking to him when I was in Benton Harbor, like young. Mm-hmm. But anyway, there's a song called Riptide that just kind of reminds me of a recovery journey. You know, it's like the riptide, you know, take shit. And I mean, it's kind of like when I relapse, you know, it's kind of like being pulled out by the riptide. You know, you have no control over it. You know, it's like you get yourself into the water and next thing you know, whew, and I don't know. So that song, if you want to listen to that, I like it. It's pretty good.
It's a good selection.
Thanks. The rap one was like, whoa, like it's a lot of party songs. Mm-hmm. You know, there's some Ice Cube, some Dre, Cypress Hill.
Oh, you mean you're
M&Ms.
saying, but those are your overall top 5.
Yeah, just like more. Yeah, this is what I would pick if you're like, go to an island.
Oh, really?
Take 5 CDs with you.
Okay.
From your past that you've listened to the most. No, I'd probably take some Blind Melon. Well, if I could take my honorable mentions then too. Mm-hmm. So like Blind Melon's greatest hits. And Blind Melon has some new stuff too. And you're like, how? New singer. That's some really good songs that are newer that you probably never heard of. But they're really, really good. I like the new guy. Whatever his name is. I mean, I guess he's not really that new, but. So there you go. As promised. I promise I deliver. There's nothing sad about that. It was fun. It was good. Your cat, though,
I know.
apparently doesn't want to keep her claws.
No, she's keeping on.
Oh, here's the episode. Here's the part of the episode where we talk about cats.
She's so great. She just looked at you.
I know. She looked at me like, F off. Oh. See, she's wanting the mic, but she doesn't even know how to talk.
No, she doesn't talk very much.
No habla inglés.
She sometimes will pop up in my, when I'm facilitating my Zoom groups. And she like walks across the computer. I have to catch her so she doesn't stop things and mess it up.
Yeah, we both did some group stuff today.
Yeah, you did some awesome group stuff. First night of your, well, I'll let you share about it.
Yeah, well, it's a meeting. I'm not sure how we started it. I don't know. Did I ask to do it or did someone? Did you volunteer? Maybe?
I think we had talked about utilizing space somewhere else to either do recovery coaching or somehow getting involved in the recovery community.
Yeah. And it's something that we do just with Sober Living Homes.
For now.
Here in Traverse City. And it was interesting. It was all right. You know, I obviously went through treatment many times and then went to Sober Living a couple times. One time it was really bad. But that's what happens when you're not ready and you're not doing it for the right reasons. It didn't make me a bad person. Mm-hmm. I didn't lie about it. I was asked, hey, are you drinking? And I said, yep. Said, you got to go. And I said, okay. So kind of how it goes, you know?
Yeah.
I wasn't like, I wasn't even drinking. What? No, I was like, yeah. Because you and I both know when you start lying, first of all, you're going to have resentments against yourself because you're going to be like, why did I lie about that? That was so stupid.
Yeah.
Just gets to a point where, I was drinking. I was doing exactly what I was not supposed to do in this sober home. Mm-hmm. Yes, you want me to leave? Okay, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
That's how it should be. Some people are just pathetic, I guess, and that's just how it goes. But I wasn't a bad person. I chose to drink, and I left because I was asked to, because I was breaking the rules. That's what happens.
Yeah.
But then when I did it again after treatment, the last time I went, I was in a completely different mindset, completely different space. I was on probation, and I made it, and it was good. And then I managed the sober living house for a minute, and then that was interesting, and I learned a lot more about other people and how everybody's at different levels, and just how different people, come from different walks of life. Not everybody is told, hey, when you get done pooping, flush the toilet.
Yeah.
And in some families, they're like, oh no, leave the pee in there all day. Don't flush it. It's a waste of water.
Right.
But you just have to learn to deal with that. And you just kind of move on with it. What can I control about the situation? That's kind of what we talked about today. And we did a little role playing with somebody, with some donuts.
You love role play.
I love it. And we have fun. And one of the guys was like, man, I haven't laughed this hard in a long time.
Yeah.
I was like, people say that every time I go somewhere. There's a common denominator here. I say it's me. I say I'm funny.
I want to do game night with you.
Game night here?
Well, no. How you used to do Pictionary.
Oh God.
I still hear stories about your Pictionary games.
Yeah, it was very X-rated. Well, just like Cleveland Steamer. I'm just there's people that might know what that is, and I would put stuff like that and stuff that you probably have never even imagined or thought of.
Maybe I don't. Then I retract that statement. That particular game, but anyway, I heard it's fun.
It was. You would laugh because
Yeah.
you see these guys and what they have to draw. And I remember one time, this older guy, he was wearing a shirt and it was like Jesus, or it was a Christian shirt, and I was like, oh my God, why is he even playing? And he got like the only thing that was like safe to draw. And I was like, oh my gosh. I looked at it. I was like, thank you, Lord. Because that could have been bad. But yeah, you see some of these people and what they have to draw is hilarious. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going into more details because it's incriminating. But we have fun. And people said that about that too. Like, man, I didn't know it was this fun. Like you could even have this much fun sober. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, you can.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that was kind of the gist of it. And, yesterday I go to this other place to talk, and, it's another group of guys. And, one person said to me last time I was in treatment, because people would always leave. And okay, sometimes it's BS. I would say probably more times than not, it's BS. Oh, my dad's dying, or somebody's dying. My stepdad, I remember he's dying. That's one guy I was saying, I'm like, dude, like, so you're going to go over there and help him? You drunk? You're really going to do it, aren't you? Like, you're going to help him out so much, aren't you? No, but again, not my problem. If he's lying or not my problem. If she's lying or not my problem. It's just hurting themselves, like.
You're talking about excuses to leave rehab.
Yep.
Well, you're
treatment.
the master of that.
I know. But I just was like, nah, I figured it out. Got it. Don't need to be here no more. No, I'm good. Just need to go home, man. Need to get a job. That was a good one for me. But I really thought, I figured it out this time. I really thought. And then when I leave, like, I really thought I figured it out. And then a month later, no, not so much.
Yeah.
But this guy said to me, he's like, man, everybody always, or he said something about like, it's surprising how people in treatment, or how many deaths or family situations or something like that, like always come up, when you're in treatment. And at that time, my grandfather wasn't doing well at all. And I was just hoping like I didn't get the news that he died, because I didn't know what I was going to do. I was court ordered to be there. If my grandfather already died, what, I might as well stay, like, I don't know. And I was really hoping I wouldn't be faced with that situation. And I wasn't. And my grandfather died the day after I got out, or 2 days after I got out. And I got to see him again, and he couldn't talk. He just would kind of look at you and go, and he was so skinny, and they stopped feeding him. And it was sad. I remember my grandfather, he was a hard worker, man. Like, he busted his ass. up until the day he died, pretty much. Well, until he got really, really sick again. But it was hard to see somebody who you kind of looked at as like, wow, that guy like goes like sun up, sun down, and see him in that kind of helpless state. And I wasn't even going to go see him again. Like I saw him when I got out of treatment, and I was just like, wow, like that's bad. And my car needed to get fixed, or I needed something with my car, and they sent the wrong part or sent something, but the salvage yard had cut the wire out wrong or something. So instead I had to wait another day to get the part. And so I'd left treatment, and I told them I was going to come back to sober living, but I had to go home, get my car, get my stuff. So then I had to call Jason back and be like, hey man, look, I'm going to be a day later. And of course everybody's thinking, sure, buddy.
Right.
My buddy Rob was like, Corey, no, you're coming, right? And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm telling you, like this car thing. And once I get it figured out, and somebody had to fix that, my stepdad had to fix that. And then I was going to go get a new phone, and I was on the family plan. It was on my parents' stuff. So I'm like, okay. So we went to Kalamazoo to get the phone, and then came back that next day or whatever. And I realized the phone was kind of messed up. Like if you put it on speaker, it didn't sound right. So it was messed up. So I was like, damn it. So I had to go back to Kalamazoo that next day. And my mom was like, well, you're going to need my ID. So here's my ID. I'm going to go to the hospital to see grandpa, hang out there. Are you going to come back and see him before you leave? And I said, nope. I'm going to come back, get my car, load up, and leave. So I go to Kalamazoo, do that, come back, load up the car, taking off. And I decided I was going to fill up in South Haven, which is where my grandfather was. But on my way up north, I stop, exit 18, and I get out, go to pull out my wallet, and I realize, oh, I still have my mom's ID. And I thought, well, she's just going to have to wait. I'll just mail it to her. I remember thinking that. And then I was like, Corey, seriously. I had a little discussion with myself at the gas pump.
You're right there.
Mm-hmm. I was like, is that what we're trying to do now? There's somebody who just gave you her ID and you're going to make her wait for it? Is that what we're trying to do?
So you checked yourself.
I did. And those, again, like that's part of the development of becoming a different person. You know, it's like, no, the old me would have just been like, see ya, ma, you'll get it when you get it. Mm-hmm. I was like, no, I gotta take it to her. So I drove over to the little hospice place or hospital, whatever you want to call it, that he was at. This is where my mom was, and I parked, and I came in, and I was like, here you go. Here's your ID. He's like, oh, yeah, thanks for bringing that. And I looked at my grandfather, and I had just gotten my 90-day coin, and was like, hey, Grandpa, I'm going to sober living. I just got my 90 days, look. And again, he really wasn't talking. He was just kind of looking at me, and I was just looking at his eyes, just hoping that, it was making sense to him. And so I told him I loved him, and, hugged my family goodbye and took off to Boyne City. And it's about an hour and a half later, I got a text from my mom or whatever, and she said, Grandpa's passed, he's gone. I was like, whoa. Like everything just happens for a reason sometimes. I was told that I had to leave treatment after 60 days. I was supposed to do 90. I was told to leave after 60 because I wasn't taking it serious.
That's what they said.
From a therapist who didn't listen to me. And like the other people that I had talked to, because that's what I had to do. I had to use other people, and other people that weren't even my therapist or case managers. I would talk to them. Like, hey, this is what's going on. Because I really wasn't getting much from the therapist. I looking at it now, it's like, well, they were all overworked. Like they had too many people to deal with, and that place kind of sucked anyway. So I kind of feel bad for them people, but I did what I had to do. But yeah, when she told me that, I was like, what? And I was like, well, let me call my probation officer. And so I called her, and I was like, hey, I'm leaving. She's like, whoa, I thought you were supposed to do 90 days there. I was like, yeah. She's like, why are you leaving? I'm doing so good. I'm doing so good. They say, hey, you don't need 90. Huh. All right. Well, whatever. Just when you get out, I need to see your face at my office the next morning. I was like, okay, cool. So I go back in there, and
So any part of you think like I probably should stay? I still have more work to do.
No, I was so focused on leaving. Like I had plans of starting a podcast and, a business and turning it into a nonprofit. And I had like, stuff printed out for me. Joyce printed stuff out for me and I was studying it and I was just raring to go. I was ready, and they have a 30-day curriculum.
Yeah.
So I was
already on round 2.
Yeah. And it's the same stuff, which is cool. Nothing wrong with it. But I was ready. I was ready to go. And so when she said that, and then I called the probation officer, she was like, yeah, see me the next day. It's cool. We're not going to punish you for not doing the 90. If you're doing so well, they're sending you home. So I went back in and then the therapist's like, okay, now look, if you promise to behave, we'll let you stay, the night. Oh no, I'm good. See ya. I'm leaving tomorrow, right? See ya. So it's kind of how that went. And like I said, everything happens for a reason. And I was hurt when she told me that at first, I was like, what? Like, are you paying attention to me and what I'm doing here? Like what is going on? Like I felt, I was hurt. But then looking back at it, I'm glad it happened.
Yep.
I got to see my grandfather one more time. And it's crazy how little things like that have happened so many times since I've been on the right path. It's like I was fighting it for so long and now it's just like, hey, just go with the flow. It's a lot easier. And I think a lot of people do that, because they still want to do things their way and they want to be in control. And what really can you control? Have that deep talk with yourself in that conversation and that'll help you get through a lot of things.
Yeah.
When you realize, it's not my thing. Like the people I was saying earlier, like the guy that said something to me about that. Oh, and I'm just like in the back of my mind going, well, I hope to God I don't have to leave like that because this dude's going to be judging me. And, if people want to make excuses and leave early, hey, whatever, dude. Like I can't control that. That's not even my problem. Wish them well.
Yeah.
And if something bad is going on, well, pray for them. That's all you can do. There's no point in me trying to judge somebody. Oh, that dude's just lying. Okay. Not my problem.
Just wish him well, regardless.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
And it was funny because the other day when I was talking in a group about that same situation, I had said that, I'm thankful that I have my mom and my dad, my stepdad, my stepmom, that they're all still alive. But I know one day they're probably not going to be. Most likely. I mean, it kind of happens to us all.
Right.
And I just hope that I'm prepared enough for that situation when it comes. I would love to sit here and tell you that I'm strong enough today that, oh, no, I won't pick up. I could tell you that right now. I would love to. But when I face that situation, I pray that I will be. But I don't know for sure. That's just kind of how I approach things. And people started saying, oh, yeah, well, my father passed away a year ago and that was hard, and it's like, yeah. And we kind of talked about that. But those situations are tough, as much as I can prepare myself, I just pray and hope.
Well, the other thing too is, that's an exercise that actually we do quite a bit is, there's what are some of the circumstances that might arise where your recovery would be at risk, and it sucks having to think about that stuff, having to talk about stuff like, a loved one passes away, or pets, all kinds of things. And even just talking about it and processing, like, we know it's going to happen, at some point, most likely they're going to go before us, like in terms of our parents passing. Cause I think about that too, and
yeah. And you added more parents to my life. Thanks,
I did.
Marty.
I added more and you added more to mine.
Yeah, I did.
So, but, and like, how do you cope with that and deal with that healthy, in a healthy way? Because for me, like the immediate response, how I think about it is I know how proud my parents are of me and how far I've come and how I've turned things around. And if there's anything that I could do in terms of, respecting them and, their passing would be to carry on, what I'm doing and staying clean and sober to honor them by staying on the right track.
and going and getting bombed, it's not going to help anything.
Yeah.
And there's other people in the family too that might need you, to be the strong one. And if people are listening, if you got kids, and grandpa passes away, make sure you're there for them.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what you can do, focus your attention on other people.
Yeah.
Not that everybody's going to need your help, but just, do what you can do. And I mentioned that the other day, and the guy's like, well, my daughter doesn't know the grandfather all that well. And I was like, well, it's a good time to maybe sit down and tell some stories. Like, oh, this is what your grandpa was, and this is what he did. And,
yeah.
He had a pretty good life. I'm assuming, everybody has some good moments, I would like to think, but those are some of the things that you can do, or maybe bust out some photos or something, and that'll help you kind of heal too and reminisce. And if you believe in God, if you believe in heaven, then they're in a better place. Like my grandfather, and I was relieved that he was in a better place.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to him when he was in this place in St. Joe. It was like a hospice thing, like Meta Lodge or something. I can't remember the name of it really. I don't think it was Meta. I don't remember. Anyway, I was there and talked to him, and he told me that he was kind of afraid and that he didn't believe in heaven and that everything just ends when you die. And I was like, okay, that's what you think and believe, but I'm telling you, it's a lot cooler to believe in heaven.
Might as well.
Yeah, I was like, it's not going to hurt anything, man. And I started kind of not preaching to him, but just saying, kind of like, it's not going to hurt you, man.
Mm-hmm.
But
you should be doing the next right thing, regardless of what comes after. I mean, being in today, being the best you can be today, every day. Not because, you want to make sure you get into heaven, but for purposes of just living life.
Yeah. Now, is it do the next right thing or do the next thing right?
Do the next right thing.
See, I always think it's do the next thing right.
And you mean don't do the next thing wrong? Be the opposite of that?
No, I think positive. Doing the next thing right.
Well, I know, but I'm saying...
I'm going to do the next right thing, and I'm going to do that right. Yeah. I don't know. Just trying to change the subject on you.
Good decision making is what
it
really boils down to.
Yep.
We have choices every second of every day.
Mm-hmm. And you can find excuses too. They're always out there. Mm-hmm. Sun comes out. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it rains. It's cloudy. Yep. Maybe it's hot. Maybe it's cold. Maybe it's Sunday. Maybe it's Tuesday.
Maybe there's bugs.
Maybe it's baseball. Maybe it's football. Maybe there's bugs. Yeah. Maybe you just watched a cool, funny show. It's time to drink. There's excuses for everything. And
yeah.
It gets old. It really does. It gets old finding those excuses, but I think that's when people kind of realize it too. Like, I lost my job today.
And that's why, when you think about where we're at today, it's like I don't have to deal with that contemplation anymore. I don't have to be like, I want to. Nope, don't. Yes, I do. No, I don't. It's like, it's ingrained in me now. It's just, it doesn't even come up to fight with it. I don't know. It's amazing.
Isn't it?
It is so amazing.
I wish everybody could get this feeling.
I try to explain it sometimes, like in words, and you can't.
Mm-mm.
But
no, read the promises. Those are for real, like legit. They should be called facts.
Yeah.
Here's the facts right here. But they like to call them promises. So It is what it is. But read them. Seriously, if you've never read them before, Google it. The AA promises.
Yeah. And I guarantee you, even if you're only a few days or weeks sober, you'll see at least one thing on that list has already happened.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can see it starting to happen in your life. I would like one person to tell me, nope, not none of those are applicable to me right now. And I've been, I didn't pick up the drink today or drug.
And one thing I want to mention too, because you just talked about a couple of weeks clean. I would struggle early on to stay. Like I said, I didn't have 5 months. I don't think. I almost made it to 5 months. I think once, but that's the longest time of sobriety that I had. But then I'd have another month and maybe 2 months that time, and then maybe 4 months, 3 months, whatever. But that clean time does add up in there. Now, I didn't have consecutive days, so I didn't count any of it. But as far as like my brain healing, because if you talk to doctors about it sometimes, and they're like, it's like, oh, you got to quit drinking for 5 years, 2 years. They're all throwing out different numbers for your brain to totally heal. But your brain is healing. Every day that you don't drink, you're doing good. You're healing some stuff. Mm-hmm. So just know that, hey, if you had 5 months, 6 months, 9 months, whatever, and then had a relapse, that's part of addiction. It's tough, but get back up and let's go again.
Yeah.
Easier said than done sometimes, because you just want to beat yourself up and you think you failed and you think you're a loser, and why can't you not, stay away from alcohol or whatever, drugs, and just know that, okay, well, let's keep going. Yep. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So just know that your brain is healing, and it does get easier, because this last time I didn't have, and maybe it was because I was on Zoloft, I don't know, but I didn't have the wall, which comes after, the honeymoon phase. Like, everything's great. Like, your body's feeling good. It feels great. And then, here you are about your 3rd month or whatever, and same old shit. Your life's not really changing. You're not a millionaire yet. You didn't meet the woman of your dreams. What the hell's wrong? This sucks. And you get into that funk. Well, that's because your body stopped producing all that serotonin, the dopamine, mm-hmm. because your body's going hard. It was going hard trying to keep up with it at first. And now it's like, whoa, put the brakes on. And so that naturally gives you like this depression almost. And this is with drinking. The other drugs, I assume it's the same. But that's to be expected. And that's a pain in the ass part of it too, because like you just get irritated. At least I did. Irritated, agitated, and just, man, this sucks. But this last time I didn't have it. But I think, just having that clean time in there, and my brain was healing, so it wasn't as bad mm-hmm. as when I was going hardcore for 20 years and just put the brakes on. It's like
body goes into shock.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all I got.
All right.
You can do your top 5 albums on Saturday?
I can do that.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, now you know what's coming up on the 12th of March.
Mine are going to have to be like reminiscent. I mean, it's at the time. I can't say that what I'll say for my top 5 of like albums that I continuously, if you did just facts, right? Like, I know I played the CD like from the beginning to the end over a lot of times. I'm going to guess, not right now, because I don't want to influence you, but I want to guess your top 5 before you announce them on Saturday. But I'm going to write them down so I don't change them from your guesses. Okay. And for everyone I get right, then we can make a bet. And then for everyone I get right, we get... Man. Well, all I'm saying is they're not... They wouldn't be what I listened to today. Oh, I forgot. There's a question Jason had for you. Not that one. Not that one. Oh. Not that one.
When you met Marnie, I would love to hear her answer at some point, too, to know the same thing. Did you have any reservation dating somebody who was also in recovery? Well, that's Jason. Yeah. Absolutely not. I didn't have any reservations about dating somebody else who was also in recovery. Maybe not so much someone who wasn't in the program, if that's what you want to say. Like, they didn't necessarily have to be somebody who identifies as somebody who's an addict or used to be an addict. But
definitely couldn't be anybody with anyone who was actively drinking or using.
The great Tom Petty said, "You got lucky, babe. I found you."
Yeah.
No, and that's kind of the thing about it is it was God's plan for us to be together. Like, it's just one of those things. Nothing felt forced. Like, I didn't have to force myself to fall in love with you. I like being around you. I don't know. It's so different from other things that I used to do. And I don't know, for me, it was easy, but I could see where Jason would be a little hesitant because you do the numbers, run the math, how many people make it that first time, that second time, or even, in our past, how many times did we go back out and use with that person, and it's like,
Well, the thing is too, is I think maybe like his question was kind of geared towards like, don't go to meetings to go try to troll for, your other half.
Yeah, women, don't do that.
That's a terrible idea. That's an awful idea.
Men hate it when you do that.
And vice versa.
Oh,
I'm sure.
I don't know. Women have all the power. So
oh my gosh.
Doesn't matter.
No, but I see what he's saying. Like, because you need to work on you. You have to get right with yourself. Being in a relationship with somebody else takes time and attention, and it's a whole other person's feelings you have to worry about. So that's why they always suggest people to have time. A little bit, the year or whatever that people suggest. And
what I suggest, Jason, just take it slow, take it easy, just like you would any other thing, and then just deny her. Say, no, it's not you, it's me.
Well, I'm just saying it's a common interest. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Like, I don't have to.
It's
give
something.
You what you want.
It's like people who meet somebody at the gym. That person enjoys exercising. You have that in common.
Yeah, and nobody can make you relapse.
No, absolutely not.
At that point, it's a choice. And Jason has 7 years clean, so he's pretty set in his ways. He even quit smoking. He doesn't vape nothing, so he quit nicotine, which is probably the hardest.
The chances of relapse are out there regardless of who you're dating. I would be more apt to think that there would be, the threat of relapse would be more so if the person was even just a regular drinker, like used socially. That would put you at more risk than somebody who is in the program.
And it just depends on the person. If they're taking it serious and if they want to live a sober life, if they want to live a life in recovery, then I think it's great. Myself, I couldn't even see myself with someone who would drink. And then I think that's unfair to be like, oh, you can't have alcohol in the house because, I might drink that one day. Because that's a reality. If it's in the kitchen, and who knows, like I said, I'd love to sit here and tell you I'd never drink again, but I don't know,
Yeah.
But knowing that it's not in the house, that there's nothing, it's safer.
Yeah.
And I like that. So personally, I don't know. I don't know if I could date anybody who would drink. Well, of course not now because I'm married to a beautiful woman and no interest in dating. But I don't know. I see what you said, but just pray. Like God will hook you up. Mm-hmm. I told God I wanted you. I didn't know it was you at the time, but that's what I was praying for. And that's what I wanted. So he's given me everything else I wanted. It's crazy. I'm telling you, it's nuts. I should write a book.
You will write a book, I'm sure.
I'll ask God to help me.
Okay.
All right. Book's coming soon. Seriously, it will. Thanks for listening. 217recovery.com is our website. We do have resources on there. There's pictures. And like I said earlier, there's an event. It's about high trafficking drug stuff areas. I don't think they're going to educate drug dealers on it. I think it's more for like cops, teachers, people in the community. Take it, learn, how you can spot things. And, okay, makes sense now. Keep an eye out because you probably don't want a drug house next to your house and your kids walking home from school, right. I would assume. So more details on that under the events at 217recovery.com. You can also get there through our awesome app, and you can also donate to us as well.
Yeah.
If you enjoy what we do and you're like, you know what, these dudes, this guy and this woman, they're about recovery, and I like that. I like what they're doing. We appreciate it. We really do. Tell your friends. Every platform you can find our podcast on, or like I said, our app. You can go back and listen to the very first one, which we should replay sometime soon. Mm-hmm. It's only like 4 minutes long.
That's funny.
Like, hey, this is what we're going to do. I got nothing else. See ya.
Come a long way.
Yeah, I sure have. But thank you for listening, and we'll find out Marnie's top 5 albums on Saturday.
Night, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the 217 Recovery Podcast. Be on the lookout for a big old van in northern Michigan. To find out where it will be, check the app or 217recovery.com. Oh, you recorded that? Oh.
What else would you say?
Boy, Corey, that's a big old van.